What are you looking at? Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Bluegrass Waterfowl Farm. I was gonna do a video this morning and talk about some different things and hopefully give people some understanding or whatever the proper terminology is. Probably make some people mad, but it is what it is. This is all my opinion. Like I always tell y'all, it's just my opinion. Everybody's got their own opinions, but my opinions are based upon my experience raising waterfowl. So we've been raising them for years, and before we got back into it this last time, we raised them for a few years before. My dad raised them for 20 some years. So, you know, I know some things, I guess you say, but I don't know. We'll try to throw a lot of information at you at one time. But anyway, one thing, I get several questions about my pond. They want to know about my pond. How is it? How's it filtered? How's it this? How's it that? First thing is it's all natural. I had a guy come in here for a bulldozer. I said, dig it. He had a pretty good sized dozer too. So I said, dig it as small as you can. So he started pushing dirt, and he said that was about as small as he could get it because the banks was so steep that he couldn't get the dozer up and down it very well. And it's 40 by 50, and it's 7 foot deep from the top of that bank over there. So it usually stays around 6 foot or so, give or take. We ain't had no rain for several weeks, so it's a tad low right now. And it's just all natural. It's a clay, mud, dirt, whatever you want to call it. I don't run no filtration. It only fills up with rainfall, but it's on a downhill slope, so all the water that comes off the yard, I've got rock around the inside and outside of the fence here, and it comes through the rock, runs down, runs in, fills her up. Been doing it that way for years. No issues. You see the pipes sticking out of the water on the dock. Was running sump pumps to circulate the water, and we learned about aerators, and that's what we're using now. And I need to take them out and do away with them. I just haven't done it yet. I keep putting it off or forgetting it mainly, but anyway, we run the aerators, and that's what's making all the bubbles in the water. And them are septic, what do you call them? Septic aerators, I think is what the name of it is. But that's what that little box is sitting on the end of the dock. Can you hear anything? It's quiet. You can't really hear nothing. It just pumps air out and then puts oxygen into the water. Helps keep algae down. During the summertime, we usually add pond dye to darken the water. We got a little feed there where I swept out of here. The ducks will come over here and eat that in a minute. I'll talk about that too in a minute. But anyway, we'll darken the water. That helps keep the sunlight from penetrating the water, and helps keep algae growth down also. Normally, everybody always asks about my blue water, because it's really usually a deep dark blue. But I seen them advertising a black dye, and it's called Blackout. So we got it, and we tried it, and I mean, you see it's blowing bubbles. It's not really that dark, but then again, it is that dark too, if that makes sense, because you can't hardly just see the rocks around the edge, and then that's it. So it blackens the water, darkens it, and keeps the sunlight from penetrating, causing algae to grow. Because everything's all natural, we don't have a filter, nothing like that. It's not harmful to the birds, fish, wildlife, anything. It's been tested. The ones we use. Now, there's some out there, you need to read up on it and study it. There's some out there that's not made for to use with wildlife and stuff, so you gotta read your labels and all that. But this is I think this one produces 2.5 cubic foot a minute, 60 hertz, 120 volts. And I was going to build this shelter over it, and I ain't never done that either. During duck brooding season, we stay covered up. And my mind slips things. Of course, we don't have near as many birds as we did last year. And my wife has health issues that prevents her from getting out here and working like she used to and helping me. And I've got health issues also that's come on this past year or so, but been going to different doctors. Finally found a doctor that is trying different things, knows what's going on, and been feeling pretty good now for the last several days. So on some different medication, and hopefully we can get it under control. And anyway, but that's the pond. And then also I will use it's a pond bacteria, is what they call it. And it puts a good bacteria into the pond. It's a liquid, comes in a gallon jug. And you have to add it like once a week, once every 2 weeks when you first start, for 3 or 4 weeks until you get it good. To, I don't know what the terminology is. Anyway, until you get it into your pond water system, and then you only add it once a month. And it's safe for the birds too. Everything's, like I said, it's been tested and studied. And what it does is it breaks down the sludge, the grass trimmings that sinks to the bottom, leaves in the fall that sinks to the bottom, probably some of the duck poo and everything. It eats it, breaks it all down, and helps keep your pond clean from the bottom up. So that's all we do. Nothing special. Yes, it's gonna cost you a little money, but that's part of it. You know, you gotta put some money into it. It's not gonna make you go broke. But it's not that cheap either. I think they're usually like $40 a gallon. But getting started will be a little more costly, but then after you get to going, it don't take as much. So that's another thing. We feed a couple different feeds, and you can see that's a small pellet. We feed all pellets, even to the younger birds. This year's hatch. We'll go over it in a minute when I get out there. But we mainly feed Kallenbach and Neutrina, and they make several different ones. Me personally, I recommend the Kallenbach duck and goose pellet. It's made for waterfowl, ducks, geese, swans. Neutrina, about any of the Neutrina is good for waterfowl. But I know a lot of people feed cheap feed, and they say, well, a lot of times the birds won't eat it, blah, 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 or they have a lot of sick birds, they'll lose a lot of birds. And you hear things when you're in the duck business, and yes, I said duck business. We'll get into that too if you want to. But if you're gonna raise animals and birds, my theory is, and you know, if you want to get mad at me, that's your business. I'm just telling the truth. But if you're gonna spend the time and invest the money into raising animals, then you need to spend the money and make sure you feed them a good feed. You don't want to feed them a cheap junk food, is what I'm saying. And if you have so many birds and animals that you can't afford to feed them all a good feed, then you need to get rid of some of your birds and animals until you get down to the numbers that you can afford to feed them a good feed. That's my opinion. You want healthy birds, you got to feed them a good food, provide them a clean water supply and environment. That's how you keep healthy animals in general. You might step on some toes, but hey, it is what it is. We still have 1, 2, 3 mandarins setting, a couple of ringtails setting, a Shiloh setting, hardhead setting, which I gotta go pull her eggs probably after a while. But I was hoping the sharp wingtails, excuse me, would lay again. It's crazy, man. I got so many people wanting them. I've only got 6, and I haven't sexed them yet. I need to, but I haven't. But anyway, like I said, what I was talking about, I said waterfowl business. A lot of people don't like that terminology. And again, I don't care. You know, that's who I am. I tell it like it is. And I tell you the truth from my experience. And it gets on some people's toes, I guess you could say. And they don't like it, but it is what it is. I didn't get to where I'm at by being a people pleaser and everything. You know, I don't mean to sound like I'm bragging, knock on wood, by no means, but I have just about every day somebody's sending me a text or a message wanting certain birds and asking for advice and help, and I'm willing to help anybody that asks. If it's something I know about, if it's something I don't know about, I'm not going to feed you a line and tell you something because I don't want you to do something wrong. I'll just plain out tell you I don't have a clue. I don't know. And I'm not going to tell you that we don't lose birds, because on very rare occasions we will lose a bird every now and then. But very, very rarely that we'll lose a bird, whether it be a breeder or a young bird. And again, I take it all back to what I was saying about feeding a good feed and keeping clean water and clean living quarters. And we just come in here this morning while it was still cool out. I got the pressure washer in here, cleaned the pool out, cleaned off the walkway, all the bricks and everything. And this right here, this is nasty. I ain't gonna lie to you, but I'm out of sand. I forgot I was out of sand. I got just a little bit down there, but it's got a lot of dirt and stuff mixed in it where I've moved it around. And I went to call yesterday morning. They was closed. Normally they're open to dinner on Saturday. But anyway, now I gotta call in the morning and have a load of sand brought out. Let me shut that water off. I was filling it up and it's done full. Now then, all right, so you got to keep it clean. You can't have healthy animals if you ain't got a clean environment. That means clean water, clean living quarters, and good food. So if you're having any issues with losing birds, then you want to check them 3 things. And this will get on somebody's toes, I know, but like I said, it is what it is. This is my opinions, and I know this stuff because I've tried all this stuff. And that's why I try to pass this information on. And you might say, well, my birds are doing good on it. Well, if they are, more power to you. But Tractor Supply, feed, the producer's pride, my personal opinion is that's a junk food. I've tried it years ago, and the birds wouldn't hardly eat it. It would lay out here for a couple, 3 days, and I'm like, why are y'all not eating? You know? And then I finally got some good food, and I mean, they eat like they hadn't eaten. I guess they were starving to death. So we don't feed the producer's pride. If your birds eat it, then, you know, hopefully they're healthy and doing good on it. If you're having a lot of losses, then I would definitely check into that. And, you know, I keep seeing people saying the price of food's going up. I don't know what you're feeding or where you're getting your food. If you're getting it from Tractor Supply, then yes, I will say that it has gone up. Our food, like I said, we buy Kallenbach and Nutrina, and it's been the same price now for the last 3 years. It's usually right at $18 for a 50-pound bag. And that might be expensive to some people, but I mean, it ain't. I'll make that much. I'll make that back and more. And, you know, that's why I said the waterfowl business. I remember when I first got back into waterfowl, I was in some duck groups on Facebook, and I said waterfowl business, and people would try to laugh at me and say it's crazy and all this and that, whatever. But I mean, if you want to get into it to keep a bunch of birds, raise a bunch of birds, and sell a bunch of birds, then you got to treat it like a business. I mean, that's what you're doing. You're running a small business, and that's what I did, and pretty much what I still kind of do. But like I said, we have reduced our numbers because of health issues for me and my wife, but we treat it like a business. And a lot of people, it brings me around to a lot of people like, well, why do you always pull the eggs and hatch them in the incubator and raise them in the brooders. Why don't you leave them outside and let the parents raise them and all that stuff? And one thing is because my pen is so big, it's 100 by 100, and well, that's not counting the add-on section I put on. But my pen's so big that if I left them birds out there and let the parents raise them, number one is a lot of them won't make it because they get hung in the rocks or another duck will kill them. And that happens because I've had some that I missed the hatch dates on, and they've hatched off and got out there. And by the time I get them caught, I've done lost a few of them from other birds and everything. So yes, that does happen. But then if I did leave them all out there and let the hens raise them, then this fall, when it's time to catch them, to get rid of them, that is a totally different job of catching all them birds out of that big area. And 2 people can do it, but it's hard and it will take you several days to get it done because you don't want to stress the birds out by keep chasing them and chasing them and chasing them. So that's why we don't do all that. And then, like I said, the business side of it is I want them birds to produce as many as they can for me. That way I have more birds to sell, which makes me more money. So, if that makes sense, I'm not that good at explaining myself sometimes. I know a lot of people says they raise birds and they don't make money. Then either you don't have enough birds or you don't have the right species. I guess I could say that. And if you just raise, let's think about this. If you just raise, say, the common stuff, ringtails, shallow legions, red-crested, rosy bills, Indian spot bills, black ducks, stuff like that, then them birds generally sell for $100 a pair or so. So yes, it would take a lot of offspring for you to cover your costs and make a profit. And if you just raise a few birds as a hobby, then that's what it is. It's a hobby. You're not going to make a big profit. And I don't know. My wife might get mad at me for telling business, but I'll just give you an example. All right. Everything that we have as far as the ducks, the duck lot, the aviary, all that, everything, all this, my building, my brooders, even my called up pen I'm building down there, everything we have is done paid for. It's all in the clear. And it was paid for by raising the ducks, and if you constantly turn around, and if you're doing it for a tax thing, then it's a different story, I guess. But we have to claim everything on our taxes. We save every receipt from feed to screws, nails, plants, whatever we use. Like I said, I get this load of sand tomorrow. I'll save a receipt for it. It all goes in on our taxes at the end of the year. And but let's just use last year. We had a crap load of ducks. For us, we had over 300 birds. So I had, let me think, I think it was like, it was 30 some pair, almost 40 pair. I think it was 38, 39 pairs, and that's like 60 some birds of just silver wood ducks, platinum wood ducks, and white wood ducks. So say I had 30 pair of them, and they're sale for $300 a pair. So you figure that up. And that's just the wood ducks. That ain't counting the white mandarins, all the white mandarins we raise. White mandarins, they're $250 a pair. And we're on the cheap side. A lot of people get more than that. I don't think they're worth that. That's why I don't sell them for that. You know, a lot of people says I'm cheap. I make money. I make money. Whether you believe me or not, that's your business. But I can show you my, well, she won't let me do that, but my tax returns, you know, I make money. Sell them at that price. And I'm not trying to make a killing. And I don't like trying to rip people off, because you don't do good business. And that's why I get so many people that keeps coming back to me, or they keep telling everybody else, you know, about us and how our birds are and everything, and how we treat them and this and that, you know. You can't go around screwing people, let me just say that, and expect to have a good name and do good business. That's just my opinion. So anyway, y'all figure it out. Then you add in all the other birds that we raised last year on top of that. Y'all can figure that up. Now, we're not going to make those numbers this year. I'll guarantee you that, because we cut back on a bunch of things. But I will make a profit. It won't be as much, and I already knew that in the process. So, but like I said, everything's done paid for. All I'm really paying for now is feed and general supplies, and then our electric and our water, our cell phone. You know, so much of that stuff you can legally deduct off your taxes if you do this as a business, because that's just the way it's set up. We still have a few birds in here. Got a few calls in here, some silvers, one anaconda, and then the red cresteds are growing. They're not really ready yet. They're getting close to being ready to take out. And the chickens are growing. I'm gonna take them out here pretty soon. But we go back, oh yeah, I was gonna tell y'all, these, the sharp wings and the ringtails in here they're ready to turn out down there. But I don't need this room right now, so I'm letting them get a little bit bigger before I turn them out down there. And I still gotta sex the sharp wings. I haven't sexed them yet. I know people keep asking me. And the white mandarins and ringtails in here, they're doing good. People ask about these ponds and this setup. These are some of the first ones that we built. These do not have drains in them. So what we do is we have a sump pump with a water hose, and we pump these out every morning and wash them out and fill them back up with clean water. All that back in there is sand. See, that's what I'm telling you. If you're going to raise a lot of birds, you got to be prepared to do a lot of work. It's time consuming. So that's like running a business. You got to put the time in if you go to run a business. But whenever these birds come out, and this one actually probably needs some now, so when I get the fresh sand, I'm probably going to put some in here. But all that fresh sand, all that sand back in there, they poop all over that. So you'll have to rake it up, shovel out some, and then normally what I do is they go in and out so fast is when I move a bunch of birds out down to the holding pen, then I'll come in here and I'll scatter fresh sand in so the new ducks will have a clean area to walk on. Is what we normally do. And then one thing too, go back in here. This is a long video, so y'all bear with me. But like I said, I'm telling you, this is just me telling you from my experience. I'm not telling you, hey, you need to go do this, hey, you need to go do that, blah, blah, blah. I'm not that type of person. I just tell you from my experience what works for us, what don't, and then it gives you options to try stuff. All right, the sinks. This is one thing. A lot of people was going, this has got to be cleaned. We ain't cleaned it because I ain't got no birds in it. But she'll bleach it out for me and everything. A lot of people got jumped on the wet brooder boat. Oh, you got a wet brood, you got a wet brood, you got a wet brood. All right. No, you don't have to wet brood. You can raise, I'm not going to say you can raise every duck because I've not raised every duck, but you can raise a whole lot of different species just by dry brooding. All right. We tried these sinks and made wet brooders, blah, blah, blah. I didn't like it. It didn't work out for us. So we went back to the old style that we used to do, the old style that my dad done for 20-some years. All the old timers have been doing it for years, and they've been raising everything, okay? All we got is dry brooders with got a wire floor in the bottom of it. I rigged mine up with these rabbit trays. I built the brooder to fit the tray. I just pull this tray out, or my wife does every morning, take it out there, set it down, spray it off the water hose, bring it back here, slide it in, bam, I'm done. That's it. Put fresh food and water in there. Then after these ducks get big enough that they go outside, I'll pack the brooders outside. We'll spray the inside of the brooders down, bleach them out, disinfect them, bring them back in here, ready for the next bunch. Can't get much easier. That's what I'm saying. Is you're constantly spending money on stuff that you really don't need. Maybe you just seen somebody else that's got it, and you say, hey, that looks good, that works good, blah, blah, blah. Well, you know, that's your business. I'm not telling you how to run your business. I'm just telling you how we run our business. But that's basically everything in a nutshell. So, all right, I'm going to do this and get off here and leave y'all alone. We still got the white calls in there. I'll get this done, then we'll get the white calls out, put them over here, clean all this up, and then I'll move the chickens over here. But this is 8 foot across, 16 foot long, and I got these tubs that we're gonna fit down in here. I got these, the guy that built this for me, I told him what I wanted. I just gotta put these tubs sit down in between these 2x4s. Then I just gotta do some bracing on them and screw them down. I gotta order some drains. I'm gonna put drains in them. I'm gonna pipe them all together. There'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tubs, one for each pen. Put drains on them. We'll drain it out down here over the hill so it's not up here making a mess. This is the wire that we got. Just stuck it up here, started on it just to see how it was gonna work out. And we'll like I said, we'll have 8 pens, and we're gonna have call ducks in here. I don't know if I'm gonna have all of them full or not. I'm not sure what all I'm gonna keep yet, but anyway, I think I've dragged this out enough. Questions, comments, concerns. If I made you mad, I'm sorry. I'm just telling you my opinion. I'm not saying you're wrong and I'm right. I'm just telling you my opinion based upon my years of experience in doing this. So don't say, hey, I told you to do this or I told you to do that. I'm just telling you my experience. If you want to try some of it, you can. If you don't, hey, it don't bother me. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. As long as I'm able, we're going to keep raising birds. Not as many, but we're going to keep raising birds. And that's just how it is. But anyway, y'all have a great rest of the day. I appreciate every one of y'all. Like I said, I try to answer your questions as best I can. So, you need anything, let me know. And I'm gonna get in here and get me a cold ski, cool off for a while. You see it's getting cloudy. Hopefully we'll get some rain here in a little while. But we appreciate you. Until next time, thank y'all.